At the World Artificial Intelligence Conference in 2020, Elon Musk stated that Tesla is very close to level 5 autonomy or self-driving, and he is confident that the basic functionality for level 5 will be completed this year.
Extremely confident that level 5 or essentially complete autonomy will happen, and I think it will happen very quickly. I think at Tesla, I feel like we're very close to level 5 autonomy.
Self-driving vehicle capability is a complex problem involving AI and machine learning. However, Musk believes it will happen and it will happen very quickly. Furthermore, autonomous driving is estimated to be a multi-billion, perhaps even trillion-dollar industry down the road, and so Tesla is not the only player looking to grab a piece of the self-driving pie. So let's compare Tesla's autopilot technology strategy to other formidable players in the industry, including Waymo, Zoox, Cruise, Mobileye, and Comma.ai. We're going to begin with Tesla and compare the electric car maker to various competitors. This is a chart done by Navigant Research and is often quoted by short sellers of Tesla stock as they have placed Tesla in dead last in terms of strategy and execution. What Navigant is missing here is that Tesla is the only player with a complete end-to-end solution for self-driving. And when you drive a Tesla today, you can use the features that they have so far. Although self-driving is not fully completed, Tesla actually makes money off their product and customers are training Tesla's neural networks every time they go for a drive. This is quite similar to Google's search engine. The algorithm behind search gets stronger and stronger and adapts every time it's used. It better learns what results to return to users as billions of search queries and previous user behavior continue to train Google into bringing up the most relevant search results. Google takes advantage of its high number of users to continue training its neural nets, but at the same time, Google makes money off of advertising, which makes this business sustainable and creates a moat around itself, making it very difficult to disrupt. As we compare Tesla to various competitors, we will hopefully begin to see that Tesla is aiming to use a very similar approach. From a consumer perspective, with each new Tesla that's purchased, customers can choose to add on full self-driving capabilities for an extra fee. Currently, this sells for $8,000 US. While full self-driving features are not completely ready yet, current features include Navigate on Autopilot, which is automatic highway driving, Auto Park, and summoning your car from a parking lot. While $8,000 seems steep, many customers not only see value in the current feature set, but this locks in the price as Tesla will continue to unlock features with free over-the-air software updates. Furthermore, as more features become available, such as city streets and traffic light capabilities, the price of full self-driving will continue to increase. So this allows early adopters to get in on the ground floor. Of course, the ultimate future goal is to have autonomous robotaxis in which your vehicle can go out and work for you when you're not using it and earn you money, but Tesla is still a ways away from that. The important takeaway, however, is that Tesla has a clear business plan and makes money for each new user of Autopilot. When they are confident with the software, their entire fleet and every new Tesla sold today and in the future will have full self-driving. Behind the scenes, the next piece of the puzzle is the powerhouse of their AI algorithms. Tesla was previously using an NVIDIA chip in their vehicles to crunch the numbers, and what they did was they brought this in-house and created their own chip for inside the car. This chip suits the more specific needs with lower power consumption, redundancy, and it was about 10 times faster than the NVIDIA one that they were using. This chip is also swappable with Tesla's previous hardware model, which provides some level of forward compatibility in a sense. Additionally, because they know what software they're running on it, they can optimize by creating hardware which is super fast that maps very well to their software algorithms. Cost is also generally overlooked. Because Tesla is making the chip themselves, they still have to pay Samsung to mass manufacture it, but they wouldn't have to pay a premium to NVIDIA for the technology. Furthermore, and this is the key, is that Tesla doesn't depend on other suppliers to add features or capabilities into the chip, and they can put it into their own vehicles as soon as it's ready, in contrast to large vehicle manufacturers, which will have to coordinate with their suppliers, something that could slow down the rate of progress. Tesla now has approximately 1 million vehicles on the road today containing the sensor set for self-driving capabilities. They have 8 cameras surrounding the vehicle, 3 of them are forward-facing that are optimized for different viewing angles and range. There is a forward-facing radar on the vehicle and ultrasonic sensors all around the vehicle to detect proximity to other objects. It should be noted that Tesla does not have and does not intend to ever use a LiDAR sensor. Tesla's software strategy makes use of software running in their custom chip inside the car and software running on their cloud servers. Additionally, they make use of over-the-air software updates, something that very few automakers have even today, in order to update the car's AI. As customers drive around in their Teslas, the cameras and other sensors continue to collect information about the drive. Tesla has something called shadow mode running in the vehicle, which is of utmost importance. Shadow mode is running the current self-driving software in the car and making decisions in the background, but not actually affecting the car's behavior. If the driver's action is different than what the system expected, this is valuable data to be sent up to Tesla's servers. Also, when autonomous driving is in use and the driver must intervene, this is also valuable edge case data in which Tesla can use to improve the system. Tesla uses its sensor set, which is mainly cameras, to detect and label objects around the vehicle. It does this by training the computer using millions of images to detect things like vehicles and lane lines. The computer algorithms can be so good that it can even predict things long before humans using patterns in artificial intelligence. If Tesla comes across a new scenario or a new object, it can use the data and the images that it has to create a new detection algorithm that starts off being quite weak. They push the algorithm to the entire fleet and ask the fleet to return similar objects or scenarios. When an individual vehicle detects this, they can send the images back to Tesla. That can drastically and quickly increase the amount of data that Tesla has to work with to continue to strengthen and improve its algorithms. It would be very difficult for certain competitors that lack a fleet of cars to collect this type of data. Now that we have a brief overview of Tesla's system, let's begin the competitor analysis starting with Waymo, which Navigant said was the leader in autonomous driving. Waymo is a subsidiary of Google, and as we talked about Google's strength is search, they are certainly a leader in AI and machine learning, having used it the longest out of almost anyone. Google is the king of machine learning. Their algorithms are insane, mastering certain video games and even the game of Go, which many said would be impossible. Google's AlphaZero is now considered by far the best Go player in the world. However, although Google is the leader in AI, they have a problem when it comes to driving. Waymo has almost no driving data when compared to Tesla, and they have no fleet of vehicles, which is crucial to collecting information. All of Google's other algorithms depend on vast amounts of data to train their systems, but without real-world driving data, this has proven quite difficult. Waymo's strategy is to retrofit vehicles with sensors including LiDAR devices. LiDAR emits millions of its own light beams and is able to measure the distance surrounding objects and create a three-dimensional map of its surroundings. Waymo can map an area and use this high-definition map to carefully place the vehicle on the road and know where key details such as the road edges and locations of fixed infrastructure are located. This strategy works great in enclosed, geofenced areas that never change. Any type of construction or changes in the infrastructure would throw off the map and it would need to be re-scanned. While Waymo's strategy depends highly on its high-definition maps, Tesla drives through intersections as if it has seen it for the first time every time, which is similar to a human driving in areas that they haven't been before. While Tesla uses maps to serve as a memory aid for the vehicle, Waymo relies on the maps completely such that if they change, the vehicle basically forgets how to drive. Waymo's vehicles drive through cities as if they are following a predetermined route, which may prove very difficult to scale and maintain such accurate maps worldwide. Furthermore, Waymo's business model is non-existent. The cost of each vehicle may be $200,000 to $400,000 each, which only works at a small scale. LiDAR devices have historically been tens of thousands of dollars. Even if the price were to drop to $1,000 for LiDAR, this is still a huge additional expense compared to a vehicle that doesn't rely on LiDAR at all. Because Waymo's solution doesn't scale, they only test in a small area in Arizona. They must pay people to drive their vehicles, in contrast to Tesla, which gets paid to have people collect data for them. And since Waymo is short on miles, they train using virtual miles, which simply isn't equivalent to real-life data. In the real world, strange edge cases occur, which is exactly what Tesla wants to harness, whereas these edge cases would not be present in something like a Grand Theft Auto simulator. Now, Waymo is trying to form partnerships to try and increase its data collection by teaming up with Chinese-owned Volvo. However, Waymo will likely still lack control over this data, so if Navigant believes that Waymo is the leader in the space, they certainly missed out on a lot of key aspects that will continue to slow Waymo down. General Motors is another competitor in the autonomous driving space after they purchased Cruise in 2016 for over $1 billion. Cruise uses the same strategy as Waymo and relies on LiDAR and high-definition maps. Cruise boasts 200,000 miles per day in simulators, which would give it 73 million fake miles in a year. Keeping in mind that Tesla has collected 15 billion miles of real-world data that it uses to train its system. Now, at least General Motors builds vehicles, but they have to integrate their vehicles with autonomous driving sensors and to coordinate with their Cruise division. GM's half-hearted approach, lack of software engineers, over-the-air software updates, and slow progress doesn't truly make them set out to be a valiant competitor to Tesla. One interesting thing that I'm also not a fan of many of these companies, not just Cruise, but Cruise is highly promotional for a product that they don't even sell. They claim that they are helping people in their community and that they are pioneers in the industry. These are all great things, but Cruise doesn't actually provide a benefit yet because they don't have a product. So separating the marketing from the engineering will continue to be a challenge for many investors. Zoox is a small competitor which normally wouldn't be mentioned. However, it was recently acquired by Amazon for $1.2 billion. That said, Zoox has previously raised a total of $1 billion in funding and was valued at over $3 billion in the prior year, so the $1.2 billion price tag is a sharp decline from their previous worth. Zoox has what they call a purpose-built vehicle which is designed to behave more like a shuttle. Again, Zoox relies on the same strategy as Waymo and Cruise with HD maps, and so Zoox is more of an automated drive rather than autonomous, as its vehicles rely on these highly accurate maps to properly position the vehicle on the road. While Zoox's vehicle is incomplete along with their business plan and their driving ability, Amazon is likely interested in their work to supplement deliveries and add on automated driving to their future vans that they intend to buy from Rivian over the next decade. And guys, if you're enjoying the video so far, please hit the thumbs up button, we'd super appreciate that. Next, we have Mobileye, which is probably one of the most advanced competitors out there. Tesla used to be a Mobileye customer, and their technology was used in the Model S and X before they parted ways in 2016. So Mobileye has been doing this for a while. At the time, they were mainly detecting street signs and lane markings and giving stats and notifications to drivers within the Tesla. They parted ways because Mobileye said that Tesla was trying to push the envelope in terms of safety because Tesla was trying to use their machine learning vision in ways that it hadn't designed for. No matter how you spin it, autopilot is not designed for that. It is a driver assistance system and not a driverless system, Mobileye co-founder Amnon Shashua had said. This was quite controversial at the time, and according to CNBC, Tesla replied to Mobileye's statement saying that Mobileye attempted to force Tesla to discontinue development of their own vision system in favor of using Mobileye products in future hardware. And this is something that Mobileye had in many of its contracts. And so either way, the partnership ended prematurely and Tesla scrambled to write its own system to gain back the functionality it had lost. And this took much longer than expected, but now these two are competing for full self-driving. Now, Mobileye was purchased by Intel in 2017 for $15 billion. They still run as a separate entity within Intel. Even though Intel specializes in making chips, for example, Mobileye still outsources the manufacturing of its hardware from ST Microelectronics. And to be clear, Mobileye isn't a car maker, they don't make their own vehicles, they just provide the chips and the software for third-party vehicles. This is advantageous to Mobileye because they have an actual business model unlike some of the other competitors, Waymo and Cruise and Zoox. Mobileye currently sells its chips to other automakers for ADAS, which is driver assistance such as automatic braking and lane sensing, and resides in about 60 million vehicles. So similar to Tesla, Mobileye effectively gets paid to collect driving data as long as these vehicles have the full sensor set or chips for full self-driving and the mobile connection to send data back and forth from Mobileye's cloud. And this isn't the case for many of the older vehicles that they're on. Nonetheless, Mobileye does have access to data generated by newer vehicles that it resides in. Currently, they expect to gain 1 million vehicles in each of their US and European fleets by the end of 2020. Now, Mobileye is attacking this problem from a business perspective as well, and trying to monetize its work at each stage all the way up to level 5 autonomy. For a more detailed and in-depth video about Mobileye, check out our other channel, The Market is Open, link in the description. But one of the key breakthroughs that Mobileye has accomplished is crowdsourcing HD maps, which is used for precisely positioning vehicles and knowing its relation to road boundaries and intersections. Again, this is something that Tesla doesn't use because one challenge to HD maps is that if the environment changes, a new pothole or road closure or construction, the map would need to be updated. So keeping the world map updated at all times is unrealistic according to Tesla. However, Mobileye tries to get close to that by using the current vehicles on the road to map the road itself and send data back to its servers. Mobileye's goal is to create a highly accurate road book, as they call it, containing a map of the average drivable path within 3 to 10 centimeters on every lane of every road in the world. Now, because sending back vast quantities of data would not be feasible due to bandwidth, processing, and cost, Mobileye has a proprietary way of compressing this data to only extract the key features it requires to create an HD map. Thus, Mobileye claims that it can very quickly, within a day or so, map large geographic areas, and then use these precise maps for autonomous driving. Overall, Mobileye says that it ultimately intends to use the maps as a redundant system to supplement its vision system, but the maps are created using the vision system in the first place, so they are not totally independent. However, this would put Mobileye ahead of competitors such as Waymo, who rely on HD maps but don't have access to them. That said, relying on HD maps is more considered automated driving as opposed to autonomous, because the vehicle can't really figure out what to do in the absence of the map, such as in a new area or if the environment changes. For instance, in an indoor parking garage whose driving boundaries could change all the time by moving pylons around. Mobileye is trying to create true redundancy for its systems by creating a camera-only and a LiDAR and radar-only system, and not having sensor fusion or combining this information. Their plan is to have two truly independent systems and compare them against each other for redundancy. However, a LiDAR and radar-only system is not capable of fully driving on its own, since these sensors cannot detect external light, such as traffic lights or the brake lights of the car in front, which are fairly important. Additionally, these two systems could disagree with each other, which could cause a whole new set of challenges, such as determining which system to trust. If the camera always wins this so-called argument, then what's the point of the LiDAR? And if the LiDAR system wins, then both types of sensors are required and each individual system isn't fully independent. Moreover, Mobileye is using the HD maps as a redundancy. However, maps are not sensors and will still require the camera system in order to accurately place the vehicle on the road, meaning even with a perfect map, the vehicle still needs to know its position relative to the map. In all cases, a camera is still required in one way or another, and relying on HD maps, even as a redundancy, still requires the cameras to be backed by powerful software for navigating around moving objects that the maps do not show. Tesla's strategy focuses mainly on the cameras, as they have chosen not to use LiDAR and HD maps. In a sense, Mobileye's solution works well until the environment changes, and then it begins to fail. Mobileye claims that their HD maps can be kept updated in real time. However, updating the map on their servers is one thing, but sending the updated map instantly to all vehicles currently on the road simply isn't practical. Consider if a vehicle is temporarily missing an internet connection and they're about to drive through an area that's newly under construction and has detours. On the other hand, Tesla's strategy is more similar to regular human vision. If your two eyes can drive a car, then 8 surround cameras that never stop paying attention should be sufficient in analyzing the situation and making a driving decision. At first, it won't work in all cases, as it requires powerful software that needs to be trained millions of times using real-world scenarios, until at some point when it's learned enough to be as good or better than a human. One way to look at this is that Mobileye's solution will work until it doesn't. Tesla's solution won't work very well until it does. Now finally, let's talk about Comma.ai. Comma is led by George Hotz, who's a well-known security hacker. Hotz was almost hired by Elon Musk for $12 million to create a system that would compete with Mobileye. For each month that Hotz was late, he would lose $1 million off the $12 million. George Hotz almost accepted this deal. However, Elon insisted that he be the judge of what it means to have a complete system. Due to the subjective nature of the deal, Hotz ended up backing out. Now, George Hotz originally developed the Comma.ai system, but it was shut down by regulators since it didn't comply with safety standards. So Hotz open sourced the code, which is known as OpenPilot, and the company separately sells a dashcam type device for $1,000 called the Comma.2 as shown, in which the user loads up OpenPilot on their own. Usually regulators require that vehicle-related products follow certain standards. However, owners can make certain modifications that are legal to their own vehicles, and loading on OpenPilot is allowed by a vehicle owner. OpenPilot works in a growing number of common vehicles such as the popular Toyota and Honda models and many more, 60 plus vehicle models at the current time. It uses cameras only and has onboard computing capabilities, and it provides features such as adaptive cruise control, automatic lane centering, and driver monitoring. OpenPilot is marketed as alpha software for research purposes. However, it does have a safety model written in C and a vision system that uses Python and aims to eventually allow for self-driving. The Comma device also runs on Qualcomm chips. OpenPilot currently competes on some level with Tesla Autopilot, although Tesla's Autopilot is integrated right into the vehicles and they use an entire suite of sensors, whereas Comma just has a few cameras on the Comma.ai device. But what's interesting is that George Hotz, who is competing with Tesla, believes that Tesla's system will actually be the first to achieve self-driving, and he thinks his own company, Comma.ai, will have self-driving functionality shortly after. And these two systems have a mainly camera-only approach to learning how to drive autonomously. In the past, Hotz has called companies that use HD maps and built line-following robots a scam, and he even calls out Waymo, Cruise, and Zoox, which use this strategy as we discussed earlier. Hotz has even singled out Mobileye, saying that in the past, Mobileye was more like a scam, since according to George, they made chips to meet minimum safety feature requirements and then would work closely with regulators to mandate these safety features, so that everyone would have to buy Mobileye. He says that now Mobileye has changed and come around, and they've gotten much better since the falling out with Tesla days. So going back to Tesla, Hotz believes that Tesla will have to release a driver monitoring solution using a front-facing camera to verify that the driver is paying attention for safety reasons, and he's betting that this will have to come first before Tesla has full self-driving completed. In the meantime, part of Tesla's vision strategy is to label and train every object or street sign that you can find in the wild, and Tesla is currently rewriting their system to add 3D video labeling, which will help to boost accuracy of the system, especially if an object is hidden behind another object in a specific video frame. George Hotz's overall vision strategy appears to be a subset of Tesla's, as Elon Musk has mentioned this in the past as well, that the system needs to determine where the best or safest place to drive is, given the driving scenario. And this is quite similar to how humans would drive, as compared to HD maps and LiDAR, which humans simply do not require. Technically, since Comma.ai software is open source, anyone can take OpenPilot and run it on their own system. However, they may lack certain support or guarantees by doing that. Until someone partners with Comma.ai to integrate the technology into a vehicle and also appease the regulators, Comma's product is more of an aftermarket add-on rather than a serious competitor to Tesla. Overall, the self-driving race is heating up, with experts in the field recognizing that Tesla is a formidable competitor in the space. Tesla is very serious about achieving full self-driving capability that is better than a human, and by recruiting top machine learning and AI experts, it appears that they are on the trajectory to accomplish that, especially as Autopilot continues to improve day by day. While there are large competitors, many with deep pockets, in order to win, they will need a strong software and machine learning strategy, a viable business model, and a scalable architecture to collect data used for training. Tesla has all of this and more, and makes their own vehicle hardware as well. Navigant's chart would likely be more accurate if it was completely flipped upside down. They don't even mention Comma.ai, which has a camera-only strategy that is actually a product that people can buy today, as compared to Waymo, which is more of a money-losing hobby for Google. It's going to take a lot more than some marketing ads to take on Tesla, who have had their heads down as they focus on improving the technology, which will eventually sell itself. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the bell button to subscribe and be notified of upcoming Tesla videos, and smash the like button to help support this video. We'd super appreciate that. You can also support the channel further on Patreon at patreon.com/themarketisopen, where we give a shout out to our patrons at the end of each video. Thanks so much for watching.